and just let God's word teach us. This is the letter Yaakov. So this is the Hebrew book of
James and Jude.
Yep, this is the Hebrew book of James. And this Hebrew manuscript was found in Spain, and it resides in Cambridge, University of Cambridge University. And it was translated into English, and it's a very good translation. I really like it. I wish I knew my Hebrew better than I do, and I don't, but it's still very good. And I would just like to read the book of James in this translation from the Hebrew. And now, if you want to follow along in James, if you see something that is significantly different from what I'm reading, please stop me. And I think that is a good opportunity to look at the scriptures. One of my pastimes has been comparing Revelation in the Greek translation with Revelation in the Hebrew translation. And I have found some significant variances. In addition, they also translated Matthew, Mark, and John. And John uses a different manuscript, but Matthew and Mark use the Caution manuscript. And in Matthew and Mark, I found some significant differences. One of those differences I think I've shared with you, where Jesus in our Greek translation Bibles refers to himself as the Son of Man. Now, many will say, well, what he is doing is he's referencing Daniel 7, where Daniel sees a vision and he sees one like the Son of Man descending. And so that every time in our Greek Gospels, Jesus says, Son of a Man, that he is actually referencing it. But in that Hebrew scriptures that Karen read today, it says, God cannot lie. And I have never been comfortable with our Greek translations where they say that Jesus says, I am the Son of Man. To me, that never seemed to work. God can't lie. So the answer to that, according to our theologian, is he is referencing a well-known Daniel passage, referencing himself as the one descending. Yet these Hebrew transcripts, he is not say Son of Man. He says Son of a Virgin. Now, these Hebrew manuscripts bear significant evidence of being written prior to the Greek translations. And there's pages of evidence, and you all have this book, and the evidence is in this book, and it's also online, so you can look at it. I am of the opinion the Hebrew manuscripts are the correct translation. Whether it is or is not is irrelevant, but it is important that we consider that possibility. Did Jesus truly say, I am a son of man? Or did he say, I'm the son of a virgin? And I'll read James.
The whole book, or are you starting somewhere specific?
Yeah, we'll go until you guys stop, and if we discuss it, we'll
How
stop
about
there.
we bring up our questions after you read through it and then go back. That way you can read through it.
Okay.
Or do you want us to interrupt you?
Well,
Well, I'm gonna have to. You're not gonna be able to stay until you're.
No, it may go too far, and we may not be able to get through the whole book, right? So if we see something that's different, since we are seekers of truth, let's interrupt me.
Okay.
And if that's where we stop, that's where we'll stop for the day. Okay. Yaakov, the servant of Yahweh, and Edom, Yeshua, HaMashiach, to the 12 tribes who are scattered into all the places. Firstly, joy. My beloved brothers, consider it as joy when you fall into a trial. And know that your faith, when it is complete, brings about long suffering. But the long suffering must be unto the end, so that you may be complete and nothing be lacking from you. But if there is one among you who lacks wisdom, he must pray for it from Yahweh, who gives to every man, and he himself will also give it to him. But he must pray with faith and not with doubt. For whosoever is doubtful, he is like a pair of balances on the sea. And this man must not think that he will receive anything from Ha-Edom. And he who is doubtful is without knowledge in all his ways. But a brother, let's stop there. Go ahead.
Well, two things, maybe three. When it says,
Verse.
at verse, maybe 6.
Okay.
But when he asks.
Yeah.
Mine says when he asks. Yours says pray.
Yeah.
And then when you ended it, what you said, knowledge without knowledge. Verse 8.
Yep. And this man does not think he will receive anything from Hayadon. Now you notice what it says. Without faith, you cannot pray to Ha-Odon, which is the Jewish translation for Yahweh, but instead of saying Yahweh, they're saying Lord.
Mine says unstable, not without knowledge.
He is without knowledge. And he who is doubtful is with knowledge in all his ways.
Yeah.
So,
double-minded.
Yeah.
Oh, I have double-minded too. Double-minded
and unstable.
Yeah.
But you'll see here the difference being without knowledge versus double-minded. So he's without knowledge.
Is this a C or E?
I'm not sure.
Sugarcoating it again.
Yeah.
Well, without knowledge is
Truth.
truth.
And
Double-minded is a nice way to say like you have a different truth.
Well, double-minded.
You
is
accept
also
two truths.
Yeah.
You accept two truths instead of you don't know the truth.
Or instead of your
So you can see there's a significant difference in it.
Makes me think of a person who may not be mentally.
Yeah.
In this case, the Hebrew writer is saying you're just lacking knowledge. You need to learn knowledge, which lines up with God saying you must seek truth. Knowledge is truth. So, yeah, in all his ways. Also note that he says he will not receive anything from Yahweh.
Yeah.
If he has no faith. And this coincides with what I said earlier, the prayers of the unrighteous. And what makes us righteous? Faith. The prayers of those without faith are worthless unless they are prayers of repentance. Yeah. Okay. That it? Keep going. 9. But a brother who is low is able to boast in his exaltation, while the rich one must boast in his lowness. For like the flower of the field, he will dry up. And like a flower, he comes out, then withers. And he runs away like a shadow and does not remain standing. And blessed is the man whom Eloah chastens. So do not refuse the discipline of Shaddai. Shaddai meaning the Most High, I believe. So does it line up pretty well with your words?
Well, I mean, I guess you could pull it out of there, but mine just says, "Blessed is the man who perseveres under trial, because when he has stood the test, he will receive the crown of life that God has promised."
And
Yeah.
mine's a little different than yours, so.
Yeah.
Now, we talked about evidence. So was this translated from that, or was that translated from this?
From Greek.
Yeah, yeah. So, and this too is a translation. This is a Hebrew translation, but the Hebrew words are here. The Hebrew manuscript is in this book. I can easily interpret your Greek translation from this Hebrew translation, but I can't easily understand how they could take your Greek translation and make it into this. And this is what happens all the way through. Those are the evidences of how, some of the evidences of how we know that this predated the Greek. Also, there are other ways to know. We'll just give you a little hermeneutics course here. Is that when we use figures of speech are difficult to translate because we don't often understand the figure of speech. Like Rod's class yesterday, Rod just hit it out of the park. It was really good. Now, if I wrote that down 200 years from now, what would they think I meant when I said Rod hit it out of the park? Baseball is gone by that time. We're all just a vegetative thing in a mechanic. Yeah, you wouldn't understand. See, so the figures of speech and the correct translation of those figures of speech is where the difficulty lies. So in what we have found in these Hebrew Gospels, mostly I'm going to say Matthew and Mark, though John and Luke is still in translation. John bears more resemblance of being translated into Hebrew from Greek. And when you look at the Gospel of John, and there are many other translations in Hebrew, but I believe these are the most accurate.
But I think, because this was one of the oldest New Testament books, James's, and that's what this said, that I'm going to say, I bet it was written in Hebrew and then translated into Greek and then into English, because it does say he was writing to the Greek.
Yes, and I would agree with you.
I think it's Jewish.
And remember, these translations, the oldest documents are like 400 years after Christ. That's when those Greek documents were found.
Oh, right.
So I would agree with you. That's what I believe. And that's what this translator believes, that the original documents were, at least this document was originally in Hebrew. Yeah. So, okay.
Those people by that time, I think, well, wait. Because it was decades after. It was during the dispersion, right? So they'd already left, they'd already exiled. They were very in the Gentiles.
Greek world.
Yeah.
They were in the Greek world.
Yeah.
The Roman Greek world.
So they were writing to the Jews, but they were very culturally.
Yeah.
This was like, that my thing says like around 50 AD when James wrote this.
When James wrote it.
Years after.
Yeah. Yeah. So I mean, it's a discussion that we don't want to be dogmatic on it, but in the search for truth, I have found it very refreshing to read these documents, and I believe that these are more accurate, and I can understand them in their context. And it doesn't mean any of the Greek isn't truth. It just means that their figures of speech understanding and the way they were able to translate it into Greek a couple hundred years later. If you take a document in English that was written in 1700s and then read it today, you could see some difficulties.
Like Chaucer?
Yeah, or like the word gay, he was gay, and there were many others. So there's always challenges in translations, understanding those translations, but the truth is always the same. And since we're looking for truth. Okay, I'll read a little bit more. Okay, I'm going to have to go back. So do not refuse the discipline of Shaddai, for after the chastisement you will receive the crown of life, which Yahweh promises to those who love him. Now, does yours say Yahweh or does it say Lord?
Lord.
It says Lord. Okay, yours says Yahweh. Now,
What verse were you just read?
that was verse 12. How many of yours says Lord? Yeah. Okay. Now, this is one of the problems with our modern translations is the word Lord is often used for Yahweh and for Jesus. And so the New Testament church has often erred thinking that we're talking about Jesus when it's talking about his Father.
Which also can make them err into believing in the Trinity.
Yes. I'm all beat up on that one. I'm not even going to start on that one again.
I know.
But the Lord confirms more and more.
Right.
So,
Well, Yahweh can be, there's different, there's like Ruach, Yahweh, there's Holy Spirit. There's Malek, Yahweh, which is the Son.
when I say Yahweh, I'm talking these 4 letters, 4 consonants, because there's no vowels transferred with these 4 consonants. Yod, He, Vav, Yod, He, Vav, He. Okay.
So my point is, Yahweh doesn't always mean the Father.
It always means the
That was
Father.
my question yesterday to Ron.
Yeah, Yahweh always means the Father. Always. It's his name. So if I say Dylan, it always means Dylan.
That's why I asked that question.
Well,
did you hear it? Were you part?
Yeah, but
you disagree. Okay.
I don't.
I got you.
I do not think Rod answered you correctly.
Okay.
Not because he was wrong, because he didn't understand your question. Rod would say Yahweh is the Father's name only, but I don't think he understood your question. Anyway, ask him personally. Ask him that question, and you can send him an email and say, "Does Yahweh always mean the Father?" And it always means the Father. And he would say, and I'm
Have
pretty
you seen
confused.
somewhere else where it doesn't?
We just had this discussion yesterday. That's where that's
Right.
Yeah, but I think
have
he
you
missed
seen
it.
Lord. So it's not that specific as being the Father.
What he was saying, and let's see if I can help you understand this, is the word Yahweh in the English translations is often translated as Lord.
Capital L-O-R.
But the word Yeshua is also translated as Lord. So the same word Lord is used for the Father and for the Son.
Yeshua is obviously Jesus.
Right. And Yahweh is the Father.
The Lord
Yeah.
Jesus.
Yeah. And Lord Yahweh. So, but you rarely see the word Lord in, matter of fact, I can't recall one, though there may be one. Do you see the word Lord before Yahweh? It's always Yahweh with a descriptive word, like El Shaddai. That means El means God, the highest. So you see Yahweh as a verb added to it, but I have never seen the word Lord added to Yahweh. Though our Bibles will take Yahweh and pronounce and translate it Lord. The Hebrews translated the word Yahweh as Edom. So that's why you see Edom. But just like any person, we use different words to describe.
Yes.
Okay, so I could say, Dylan, my friend, the nurse, Dylan. See, so I've just used 3 different descriptions for the same person. So that happens a lot. Verse 13. But let no one say, when a temptation comes on him, this comes from Yahweh. For Yahweh does not tempt man with evil, neither is he tempted by anyone. Only everyone is tempted when his desire overcomes him. And afterwards, if he accepts the desire, it causes the sin. But the sin, when it is completed, causes the death. Now that, different words than your Greek, but you can see the same meaning, right? So he's saying that there's the progression of death. The sin that lives within us, we succumb to, and then it goes to death. If the sin that's within us, we do not succumb to, now we are fighting and washing ourselves with the blood of Christ. And in the fight against sin, we are made clean. So here he's saying the progression to death. Everybody has sin. What do you do with it? Verse 16. Do not go astray, beloved brothers. Every good gift comes from above, from the light of the Father. See, there we see the light of the Father. We don't see the word Yahweh. And with him there is no change, nor alteration of light and darkness.
Okay, mine says, instead of you said something about God and light.
Yeah, I'll say it one more time, then you tell us what you got. Verse 16. Do not go astray, beloved brothers. So he's warning us, don't go astray here. You be careful. Every good gift comes from above, from the light of the Father. And within him is no change, nor alteration of light and darkness. And
Mine says, from the Father of the heavenly lights.
yeah.
And not just the Father of light.
Mine says Father of Light.
Yeah, now, so here's a main change in the Hebrew translation from the Greek translation. He's using, in the Greek translation, it's describing the Father, right? The Father of lights. Here in the Hebrew, he says, all of the light comes from the Father. So there's a translation. So could you come to this understanding from there? No. But you could go easily from this understanding to there.
Right.
And that is, again, one of the evidences.
Right, and then also in 16, mine says deceived, not go astray.
Same.
Yeah, deceived.
So there's a difference between being deceived and actually going astray.
And that's in context, isn't it?
Right.
Don't go astray. Yeah. See, you can see that. But you could see how easily someone could read the Hebrew and then try to put it into Greek understanding, and then from a Greek understanding into English.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And again, those are evidences. Every good gift comes from above. Does yours say that? Every good gift comes from God? Mm-hmm. From the light of the Father.
Father of Lights.
And with him there is no change, no alteration of light and darkness. And he has shown us, according to his will, how does he show us? By the word of truth, that we are first fruits of his creation. How does yours
No
translate?
alterations of light and darkness.
Yeah.
Mine says no variation or shadow of turning. So turning versus.
Mine
Yeah.
says shifting shadows.
Yeah, you can see how all of that can be interpreted. Especially, remember, since I believe that we know that English translation comes from the Greek.
Right.
So the Greek, in their mindset, and it's a different mindset than Hebrew, could read the Hebrew and write it and say that's exactly what it means. Because they're two distinct. Can anybody explain what the two distinct mindset differences between Greek and Hebrew are? Any examples? art? No, mindsets. What are the differences in art would be different, yes.
I didn't hear what you said.
What are the differences in culture and mindsets, foundations between the Hebrew people and the Greek people?
Well, maybe they're just kind of more descriptive.
Greek it can be more descriptive, yes.
I mean, not that Hebrew isn't, because, you know, you look at the Old Testament, but it's just interesting how they're,
More words.
yeah.
The Greeks are,
More letters
the
and more
Greek
words.
were
Yeah.
worshippers
More
of,
letters, I guess.
of
I mean, because they had more words. I mean, we have love, and they had 4.
Hebrews were in Judaism. They were in,
Kind of like
Old Testament.
Gentiles.
The
Yeah.
Greeks were worshippers. Their whole society was built around all
Gods.
these other gods.
Yes. And that is the foundation, as Tim said. A Hebrew grew up knowing there's only one God, and that God chose them to have a relationship with them. A Greek grows up to produce and to acquire things of this world and worshiped many gods that provided the things of those worlds. You see those two foundational understandings? So we today have a Roman mindset. We produce and acquire and worship many gods. Many of those gods are things we create with our hands, and we do. A Hebrew would never do that. Their whole thought is, hey, I belong to Yahweh. He chose me. He is the only God and the only true God, and everything has to be understood, filtered through those two foundations. And so when we translate Greek, automatically the translator is going to impose, whether unintentionally or intentionally, some of his foundation into his translation, no matter how hard he works to not do that. Okay? So those are the two of the foundational truths. And you notice it says in 18, and he has shown us according to his will by the word of truth. So according to the scriptures, he's shown us by the will that we are the first fruits of his creation. How does your Greek translation say that?
Almost the same.
First fruits of his creation.
Yeah, first fruits.
Yeah.
Creatures. Mine says creatures.
First creatures.
Oh,
Now,
that's
this
so different. Creatures is
Yeah.
so different than created. Or
first fruits. Now, what a Hebrew knows first fruits, right?
Yeah.
What's a Hebrew culture? It's agrarian, right? First fruits. The whole Old Testament's about the first fruit. What do you do with the first fruit?
Give it to God.
It's Hebrew. You give it to God. That's why the Hebrews understand it. Now, the Greeks don't have that background. So it's easy to translate that as creature instead of fruits, not recognizing the agrarian background of the Hebrew. So there's no way that a Hebrew would translate from the Greek and say first fruits of his creation. When that says, let's just say it says first creature. So they would say, well, if I'm going to translate creature, I might say animal or human or creature. See that? And first fruits are critical in our understanding of God, of Yahweh, and the end of days. For he talks greatly about the harvest in Revelation. Okay, should we call that quits now?
Yep. If we're done,
Yeah, we can call that quits.
can you explain the Sefer
Yes,
for Catherine, because she saw the book and was wondering?
sure. Okay, so the Sefer.
You gonna go? Okay. You want to pray us out first?
Yes, I would love to pray so. Lord.